Students, in today's lecture we are going to study refraction by spherical lens. Hope you remember the definition of refraction. It is a bending of light as light travels from one medium into another medium. And you should know that for refraction to take place, the two media, they have to be transparent because light can travel through transparent medium only. So here, let us see first of all what is lens. Lens is a transparent material bounded by two surfaces, at least one of which is spherical. Spherical lens is a transparent material which is bound by two surfaces, at least one of which is spherical. You can see here it is this thing made up of glass is bounded by two surfaces. One is plane and the other is curved. It is spherical and it is curved outwards. As it is curved outwards, we can call it this surface as convex and this as plane. So we can call this lens as plano-convex lens. When we see this lens, it is a transparent material, glass, bound by two surfaces. One is plane and the other is curved inwards. Again, it is spherical. So this is a plano-concave lens as it has the spherical surface curved inwards and the other side is plane. Now let us consider this. If instead of one, both the surfaces of the lens are spherical, okay, and we'll consider these cases only. There can be other cases also, but we'll consider only these two. For example, here a lens which is made up of, let us say, glass, transparent material like glass, is bound by two spherical surfaces, both of which are curved outwards. So we can call this as double convex lens or simply convex lens. Okay, as both the surfaces are convex in nature, they are curved outwards. If we see the last lens, then the two surfaces both are curved inwards. So both are concave in nature. So we can say a lens which has the two refracting surfaces curved inwards. A spherical lens whose refracting surfaces are curved inwards is called as double concave lens or simply as concave lens. Now students, we are going to concentrate only on these two types of lenses in our syllabus, convex lens and concave lens. And also do remember, we are going to consider only symmetrical such lenses. Symmetrical in the sense, here the two sides are spherical, they are curved outwards and they are symmetrical. Okay, it's not that one side is more or less curved than the other. Both are exactly the same. Similarly, that side, both are curved inwards and they are similarly bent inwards. It's not that one is more curved and one is less curved. Okay, so let us concentrate on these two lenses only now. Now, lens, you must have seen this lens because it is very commonly used in day-to-day life. If you see the watchmaker or the person who repairs the watches, okay, he uses the magnifying glass to see the very small parts of a watch. Or even when we talk about magnifying glass, we have seen people use it to read very small printed written material. Okay, so magnifying glass is nothing but it is a simple convex lens only. It is a convex lens. And if you touch it, it is curved from both the sides outward. Okay, so magnifying glass is a convex lens. Now, let us see terms, very common terms related with these lenses which you should be aware of. Now, first term is optical center and we use a letter O, capital O, to represent optical center. Now, if I take this convex lens, see, this is convex lens, then this is now unlike mirror where one side is polished and the other is reflecting. Here we have complete transparent and both the sides are refracting. Okay, so we can keep it any way, any side we can keep this side. So here we have this center point of the lens. This central point of the lens or center point of the lens is called as optical center, and it is represented by O. So here we have the optical center represented by O in case of convex lens, and there I have represented the optical center again by O in case of concave lens. Next is aperture. Now if you see this lens from front, it will be circular, having circular outline or circular boundary. So this lens has a circular outline boundary, okay, and the diameter of that outline circular boundary is called as aperture. So the diameter of the lens or the refracting surface of the lens is called as its aperture. I have represented here by dotted lines. Similarly there I have used the dotted line to represent the aperture. Centers of curvature. Now in case of mirror, we have only one center of curvature, okay, because we have only one curved part, one reflecting surface. Now here we have two refracting surfaces and two spherical parts, so accordingly we have two centers of curvature. Now if you consider this part, now it is a part of a solid glass sphere. If you consider this side, if I complete this, I have not completed but I can complete it, it is the shape of a sphere. So this side is a part of a solid glass sphere. Similarly, this refracting surface is also a part of a hollow glass sphere on the other side. So this sphere of which this refracting surface forms a part has a center, and this other solid glass sphere of which this refracting surface forms a part also has a center. So these two centers of the solid glass spheres of which the two refracting surfaces forms parts, they are called as centers of curvature of a lens. So in this case here, when we are talking about convex and concave lens, there are two centers of curvatures. See, this is a part of this sphere. The center of the sphere is its center of curvature, and this part of the sphere of the lens is a part of this solid glass sphere which has this center, and so it is again the center of curvature of this lens. So we can say this lens has two centers of curvature. Similarly, there I can also show that. Similarly, when we look at this concave lens, here also this first surface, it is a part of this sphere, okay, and it has a center. So this center of the sphere of which that refracting surface forms a part is called as its center of curvature. Similarly, the other refracting surface of the lens is a part of a sphere on the other side, and that has a center C. It is again the center of curvature of that lens. So overall, here it was solid glass sphere. Here we are just simply saying that center of the sphere. Okay. So overall what I can say is centers of curvatures of the lens, they are the centers of the spheres of which the two refracting surfaces forms the parts. Okay, so every lens here, convex or concave, when we are talking about these two lenses, they have two centers of curvatures, and usually we should use the letter C to represent it, but we will be using some other letter. I'll let you know soon. Next is principal axis. Now we can easily see that this line which is passing through the two centers of curvatures, I can write C1, C2, C1, C2 that side also, but intentionally I have not written here now. So the line passing through the two centers of curvature of a lens is called as its principal axis. You can see there also this is valid. A line passing through the centers of curvature of a lens is called as its principal axis. And we should remember that this principal axis also passes through the optical center of the lens. Now, radii of curvature. Radii is a plural form of radius. If a lens has two centers of curvature, then obviously it has two radii of curvatures. But for simplicity, we are going to consider that these two centers are equidistant from the optical center. Okay, so what we are going to do is now, we are considering these two surfaces as exactly having similar curve. Okay, they are having similar curve, or we can say they are part of the sphere having the same radius. So the radius of the sphere of which these two surfaces forms a part are called as its radii of curvature. Similarly there, so both the spheres of which the two surfaces forms a part, they have radius, and so radii of those two spheres, they are called as radii of curvature of the length. But remember that since we are considering both the radius to be equal, actually this radius is from C to this side, this edge, and this radius is from C to this point, okay, not O. Similarly there, we can have the radius of curvature on both the sides. But we are considering both the radii to be having equal values. So instead of saying lens has radii of curvature, let us say 5 meter, we'll use radius of curvature of a lens is 5 meter, which means both the radii are each equal to 5 meters. Now next is foci and focal length. Okay, so above all 5 terms were very simple to understand. Let us see what is foci. Foci, it is a plural of focus. Like it has 2 centers of curvature, 2 radii of curvature, lens has 2 foci. And then let us see next what is focal length. Now students, let us see what is principal focus, as there are 2 for the lens, principal foci of a lens and the focal length of a lens. Now remember students, when we had drawn the lines parallel to the principal axis of a mirror, wherever they meet after the reflection or appear to meet after the reflection, that point is called as focus of a mirror or principal focus of a mirror. You remember the definition? A point on the principal axis where rays parallel to principal axis meet or appear to meet after reflection is called as principal focus of a spherical mirror. If we consider the same definition for focus of a lens, but just change the word refraction, we get the definition of focus of lens. Let us see. A point on the principal axis where rays parallel to principal axis meet or appear to meet after refraction is called as focus of a lens. Now here we have drawn the rays parallel to the principal axis of a lens. Before we understand this, here I don't have the law of reflection where I is equal to R was used in case of mirror, and we were able to prove our statement that the rays meet or appear to meet after reflection. But here we cannot prove it this way. I'll just try to help you to understand this. Before we accept this definition, let us see, have a look at this diagram. Even before we look at this diagram, have a look at the prism ray diagram. Remember, in a prism, when a ray of light is incident, first it bends towards the normal, as I have shown here, because it is entering from air into glass, rarer to denser medium. So it is bending like this. Okay, it is bending towards the normal. And again, second refraction takes place at the other surface, refracting surface of the prism, and now it is moving from denser to rarer medium. So it bends away from the normal, and again this is the normal, that dotted line is the normal, so it is bending away from the normal. So if we see this ray diagram, we know that angle A is angle of prism, and surface opposite to that or side opposite to that is called as base of prism. Side opposite to the angle of prism is called as base of prism. If we look at both the refractions that take place through the prism, in the first case also the refracted ray bends downwards, it means towards a base. In the second refraction also the ray bends downwards towards the base of the prism. So we can say that whenever light passes through the prism, a ray of light passes through the prism, it refracts twice and always it bends towards the base of the prism. If you have understood that, let us come to this diagram now. Now this lens, convex lens, can be assumed to be made up of many prisms placed in this manner. See, here one prism is there whose, let us say, base is lying here. Here one prism is there whose base is lying on the principal axis, and then above that one more prism is there, So as we go up, the size of the base goes on decreasing. So it is we can say combination of prisms placed in this way above the principal axis. And when we see this below the principal axis, we can consider this prism placed in inverted manner with again base lying on the principal axis and angle of prism lying on the other side, and so we can consider similar prisms with smaller bases are placed in the same manner below it. In other words, this lens can be assumed to be a combination of such lenses placed above and below the principal axis, such that the lenses above it, they are having their base towards the principal axis, and the lenses which are placed below the principal axis, they are also having their base towards the principal axis. Now we know that whenever ray of light enters into the prism, it bends towards the base. Okay, so here also the refraction, like in prism, actually the refraction takes place twice. First here it enters from air into glass, and then here from glass into air. Twice the refraction should take place. But the diagram will be very complicated and very confusing. So instead of showing two refractions, always you will find one refraction is only shown. First the incident ray is shown, and finally at this dotted line we show the final emergent ray. The central ray we skip in order to keep the diagram simpler. So we have this first incident ray, okay, and we extend it till the center dotted line, and from here we show the final emergent ray. Now since the ray when enters into the prism, it bends towards the base, and for all these prisms which are assumed to be lying above the principal axis, their base is lying towards the principal axis. So we can accept it logically that when ray is incident above the principal axis parallel to it, it is going to bend towards the principal axis. Similarly, when I draw a ray below the principal axis, again using the same logic, same reasoning, that when it enters into the prism, it is going to bend towards the base, and the bases of these prisms below the principal axis, they are lying towards the principal axis. So this ray should also bend towards the base or towards the principal axis. So at least, although we cannot prove it 100% here, but at least you can accept it with good understanding that when the rays are parallel to principal axis of a convex lens, they converge towards the principal axis, and let us assume they meet at a point on the principal axis, and this point on the principal axis where rays parallel to principal axis meet after refraction through a convex lens is called as principal focus of a convex lens. I hope you have understood. I will repeat the definition. Principal focus of a convex lens. Define it. A point on the principal axis where rays parallel to principal axis meet after refraction through a convex lens is called as the principal focus of the lens. Since I can draw these parallel lines this side as well as on the other side, and if I draw the parallel lines coming from that side, obviously they are going to meet here, somewhere here. So this will also be a focus. So accordingly we can say there are two foci of convex lens. And for the lens, imagine, and please accept it, that we will be considering the lenses whose aperture is smaller than the radii of curvature. It means this length should be smaller than OC on both the sides. Such lenses are called as thin lenses, and all the diagrams, all the rules that I am stating are valid for thin lenses only, and even this definition is valid for thin lens only. Okay, because here I am going to say, although it is true for all the lenses, but for thin lenses I will say that this focus lie midway between O and C. Midway between O and C on both the sides. So, instead of using the letter C that I have written here, for the ray diagram of lens, I will be writing here 2F. 2F. So, in the lens diagram, we don't write C, we write 2F because this F lies, focus lie midway between C and O. So, what will be the focal length? Focal length for a lens is the distance between principal focus and optical center of a lens. There are two focal lengths, this length FO and this length FO. In many books you will find instead of F to F on both the sides, they write F1 to F1, F2 to F2. Here I have just written F to F. I'll let you know what symbols I am going to use afterwards. Okay, so what is focus you have understood, what is focal length also you have understood, and you should know we don't write C, we write 2F instead of C on both the sides, and F lies midway between 2F and O for thin lenses. Thin lenses means lens which has smaller aperture compared to radius of curvature. If we see that ray diagram, concave lens, see here, concave lens, in the similar manner, concave lens can also be considered to be a combination of prisms placed in this manner. So here, prisms lying above the principal axis, okay, they are having their base away from the principal axis. So when the parallel rays are coming and striking the concave lens, this is a concave lens, striking the concave lens, they are going to bend towards the base, and the base of all these prisms above the principal axis are lying away from the principal axis. So the ray should bend away from the principal axis as I have shown. Similarly, when I take a ray below the principal axis and these lenses below the principal axis, they are having their bases away from the principal axis. So again here the rays are going to bend towards the base that is away from the principal axis as I have shown. And we can say that these rays appear to meet, they will not meet on the right hand side. We can see that they are diverging. So this point where they appear to meet, by dotted line I have reduced them backward. So a point on the principal axis where rays parallel to principal axis appear to meet after refraction through a concave lens is called as its principal focus. As we have both the sides refracting, if I take parallel rays coming from that side, other side, they are going to diverge this side and they will again appear to meet on the other side. So similar manner we can have two principal foci for concave lens also. So in case of concave lens, again I am not writing C, instead of C I am writing 2F on both the sides, and I have shown two foci, one on either side, and represented it by F. Now overall, if I ask you what is the definition of focus of a lens, spherical lens, I can say a point on the principal axis where rays parallel to principal axis meet or appear to meet after refraction through a lens is called as its principal focus. And we should know that both the sides are refracting in both the lenses, so there are two principal foci. What is focal length? It is the distance between focus and optical center of the lens. So FO, for this FO, similarly there FO, OF, it is the focal length of the lens. Now students, here we have taken thin lens. Actually if you see, the focal length for this side, this focus should be, focal length should be F, and this distance. Okay, and this focal length should be F and this distance. But because we are considering the lens to be very thin, we can assume this length thickness is so less that overall we can measure all the distances from the optical center. So that's why we use the thin lenses. All the distances which are parallel to the principal axis should be measured from the optical center. I hope you have understood this principal foci and focal length of a lens. Okay, and we can see here this convex lens converges the parallel beam of light or parallel rays of light at its focus. So this lens, convex lens, is also called as converging lens, just like a concave mirror. And there we see a concave lens. When a parallel rays of light are incident on a concave lens, they appear to diverge after refraction from the focus. So we can say concave lens diverges the parallel beam of light incident on it. So we can call concave lens as diverging lens. So remember, convex lens is a converging lens and concave lens is a diverging lens. Convex lens has real foci because the rays actually meet after diffraction on both the sides we can show, and there the rays appear to meet at foci and both the foci will be formed because the rays appear to meet. So focus of a concave lens or foci of a concave lens, they are virtual foci. Okay. Now, you remember I have told you one way to find out the focal length of a concave mirror. I told you, you face the concave mirror's shining surface, that is reflecting surface, in front of sun outside, and keep a piece of paper between the sun and your concave mirror. You keep it close to the concave mirror. Move the paper towards or away from the concave mirror till you get a bright spot, which is an image of sun on the paper. When you keep it for a long time, the smoke starts coming out of from that bright spot. Maybe it can catch fire, it can burn also after some time. That bright spot is nothing but the image of sun that is formed at the focus. And then we can say distance between the paper and the concave mirror is the approximate focal length of the concave mirror. Similarly here, if I keep this lens in front of sun, and I place a piece of paper on the other side, I move the paper away or towards it and then try to get the image of sun rays. The image of sun will be formed on the paper when I move the paper towards it or away from it. When you see a very sharp bright spot on the paper, you hold it for some time, you will see the smoke starts coming out and it may also burn after some time. So the distance between the lens and the paper is nothing but the rough or approximate focal length of the lens, and that bright spot is an image of the real image of the sun which is formed on the paper. Okay, so I hope you have understood. If time permits, maybe in any of the lectures we'll do this activity, or at least you should understand this activity now. Please revise these terms regarding the lenses, related with lenses, because only after you are familiar with these terms we can learn the ray diagrams well in our next lectures. Thank you, students.